Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here to talk about Married at First Sight. We are on season 20 here on the Peacock Network, and we are on episode 17. How are y'all liking it since it's moved over to Lifetime? How are y'all liking the new experts? I'm liking both of the moves. Hey, everybody. I know everyone is over here mad at Mecca, saying that how dare he say that he wants Michelle and Caitlyn. Y'all know I can't stand Mecca. I really can't. But let me tell you something. One thing I know about Mecca is Mecca never uses his tongue to edify anyone. There is no way Mecca's going to go over to any woman and say, you are the woman I would want to swap with. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Mecca uses his tongue to destroy. That's what he uses his tongue for. It's what he's been taught by his father. Use your tongue to destroy, to ridicule, to put down. So when I see Mecca, even after he saw that Belle Jolie chose women to sort of smooth over the joke, the game, he chose to say, nope, I'm going to use my tongue to destroy. And I know maybe y'all think he was using it to edify Caitlyn and edify Michelle. No, he wasn't. Because first of all, Mecca told us that he don't like the itty bitty titty club. And they're both part of it, okay? Some of you may say, well, he just said that to Belle Jolie because that's not really what, to make her feel bad. No, he don't like it. Because when he told us who his dream crushes were, Sofia Vergara, she was exactly what he said, woman with curves, everything, okay? So him choosing Michelle and Caitlyn had nothing to do with that's who he really likes. I don't believe it. And another thing, Michelle and Caitlyn are two different women on two different opposite ends of the pole. And one thing we know about a lot of people, including men, is they have a type. Most people have a type. The women are going to generally be in the same sort of general area, right? They may not all look alike, but they're going to be in the same general area. And Michelle and Caitlyn, personality-wise, looks-wise, are two different people, plus they're part of the itty bitty club. So then you say to yourself, well, why would he choose them? If you're saying, Deborah, that he doesn't really think that those would be the women he'd swap with, why would he choose them? Well, now let's talk about it. If you go back to what I said, he uses his tongue to destroy. Who would you destroy the most? Besides your own wife, Belle, which we know he don't care about at all anyway. Why would you choose those two? Because you know who you're trying to get back at? Their husbands. Their husbands. You know, last week we found out there's an alliance. There's a split between the men. There's Felipe, Mecca, and Adam on one side. What's his name said, those are my BFFs. Adam, Felipe, and Mecca are the two that hang tight on this show. On the other side, there is Cameron and there is Devon. Well, what do Cameron and Devon have in common? One is they haven't been around here disrespecting women. Okay, so you got the disrespecters on one side, Felipe, Mecca, and Adam, the disrespecters of women, and then you have the respecters of women who seem to be Devon and Cameron for the most part. So why would you want to destroy? Because they're the ops. They're the ones that make you look bad. They're the ones pointing out all the stupid stuff that you're saying. And in addition, Mecca found out that the boys went back and told what he said in the boys' lounge, that he did not like the itty bitty titty club. And so he said, who told? No one should have opened their mouth. Just as Cameron tried to tell his wife, Michelle, loose lips sink ships, Mecca was mad. Who told? Who told? He found, at the time, he didn't know who told. He didn't know if it was Devon or if it was Cameron, but both of them got the heat. They got the smoke. Because later on, Caitlyn comes around saying, I heard, which meant he knew that it wasn't Devon in the end, but he also knew it had to have been Cameron. And so how does a revengeful tongue get revenge? They go over and they say, I want your wife to get you upset. And then that's when Cameron said, F you. You MFer. F you. It was about revenge. Caitlyn over there giggling, thinking she was really chosen. Girl, you weren't chosen. You were a pawn once again in Mecca's game. Just like he does with Belle Jolie, pulls you in to make you think that he really likes you only to reject you. That's what Mecca does, because Mecca, deep rooted in him, is a spirit of rejecting people. It's never going to be to edify a person. So like I tell you, pay attention to what people do, not what they say. Okay, if you watch people's moves, you will know that Mecca isn't the person who's going to give you a compliment. He's going to be a person. If he's giving you a compliment, it's to set you up for a fall. I'm going to tell you right now, because his spirit is a spirit of revenge, a spirit of rejection, a spirit of hurt. And those types of spirits don't know anything else to do but hurt people. And the fact that Caitlyn is over here licking her chops over Mecca, that part I believe. It's also her spirit. She likes the bad boys. She likes the bad boys. I would never be complimented at all. I'm going to tell you right now, and if I'm in a game and some other man says to me, I would want to swap with my husband, that would not be a compliment to me. That wouldn't, why would you even mention my name? That's not a compliment to me, to put me, I'm now like Tori. That's not a compliment to me. You think I'm a grin from ear to ear? No, that means you're disrespectful AF. And I don't know why anyone would believe that Mecca would choose Michelle. Michelle was the one that outed him. Michelle was the one that told on him. Michelle is the one that has checked him at every single time about his bad behavior. And y'all think that's who he wants? No. That whole thing was about revenge. And what he didn't care if he hurt Belle Jolie in the process. Because what he does is he seeks to destroy. And it doesn't matter who gets in his way or who else is collateral damage. I said it from the very beginning. Belle Jolie, you better run. You better run. But we got a lot to talk about, y'all. Shawn ain't here at this episode. You know, if Shawn was here, shoot, he might have said Nikki. Let's be honest. Even if she is older, he probably would have come up with an excuse and said, yep, I like older women too. Just to get at Shawn as well. But we're going to keep going about what else was going on here. After he said mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Let me get my notes going. So we saw in this episode, Nikki was holding it down without Shawn there. Later on, we're going to see she said she missed him. I don't know the conclusion y'all going to come to, right? You know, you're going to have to figure out what you think about Nikki. Is Nikki really like Shawn because she said she did? Or are you going to go with Nikki's a liar and she's been faking this whole episode like Michelle said? Either way, y'all going to be in a place that you don't want to be in with Nikki. You either going to have to admit that she's either faked it this whole season, just like Michelle did, just to make it to the end, right? Or you're going to have to admit that she actually did kind of grow in her like of Shawn. And then you're going to have to reconcile this idea that if she were faking it just to make it towards the end, you have to say, well, why would you fake it that long and then actually have intimate and physical relations with a person? So you're willing to fake it this long plus give your body up just to make it? That would be another problem that you would have with Nikki. And I don't think Nikki's that type of a person. I don't think Nikki would fake something and then give up her body just to make it towards the end. That's why Nikki got in Michelle's butt about it, because she was offended by it. And I would be too. So you mean to tell me you think I'm so shallow to fake this whole show, and then to keep the fakeness going, you think I would give up my body just to stay on a show? See, Nikki was offended. This is why Nikki and Shawn make a good couple. Y'all see their unity. You see it. You see when you know what, Nikki and Shawn, if they use their talent against the world and not against each other, they will be a formidable couple. Because these two, they have the intellect to get into people really, really good. Really, really good. And the way that Nikki handled Michelle on this episode, chef's kiss. It's the same way Shawn handled Adam before. And Nikki said, my man ain't here, so he ain't here to get in y'all. And if you notice, every time Shawn was getting into these people, Nikki sat there real silent, because you know what she did? She agreed with everything he was saying. She agreed. Now, she may not have agreed on the delivery. So behind closed doors, she would go to Shawn and say, hey, you know what? I agree with you on principle about Adam and Michelle, but you could have maybe done it a little bit differently. And so then in Shawn's absence, Nikki said, let me take control. Let me be the leader. I'm gonna handle the takedowns this episode since my man is in New York, and I'm gonna handle it with a little bit more grace than my man does, a little bit more tact, a little bit more style, a little bit more sophistication. And you did, Nikki. You handled Michelle brilliantly. Brilliantly. You called her out and said, get out of here with that. And like I said, they would really be a good couple if they could drop using their superpowers on each other. And also if they could get out of the competition with each other, because they are in competition with each other. That's their egos. Somebody told me that both Nikki and Shawn are Leos. It all added up. I was like, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. They're both Leos, right? They're both Leos. And so they compete with each other. But like I said, if they just use their superpowers against the world, these two would be formidable, really be formidable. But they can't stop. They can't stop letting their egos get in the way of things. But I don't know when Caitlyn became the marriage counselor. This episode, we see her trying to counsel both Felipe and Devon. What for? Why would anybody be listening to her? So glad that these two, Devon and Caitlyn, finally broke up at the very end, because she deserved it. She deserved it. And I saw Devon get up in her face after she said F you, and I didn't have no problem with it. You know, women have to learn that, you know what, everything just can't come out your mouth. You see, when you start to now understand why Caitlyn has been in toxic relationships and why she might possibly have been on the back end of maybe some physical abuse, unfortunately, you start to understand how she got there. Caitlyn believes she can say anything and do anything, and there's no consequences for that behavior. We saw it with Courtney. Courtney's a bodybuilder. I guess Courtney thinks that she can beat up everybody. Caitlyn's out here thinking she can do and say anything to anyone, female or male, and there's no retribution for it, right? Caitlyn's going to say the wrong thing even to a woman, and somebody's going to go upside the head of Caitlyn. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. She's in danger. Her mouth gets her in trouble, right? But we pick up off of Felipe crying because Tori was crying. And Tori talking about she doesn't mind Felipe being the life of the party, right? But she doesn't want it to be like a bad party. And here's the thing about Tori. Tori's over here talking to the girls about how she's mad at Felipe for going along with this joke and being the butt of the joke. But at not one point of time, and she's talking about how that hurt her, that she was the butt of a joke. Got it, Tori. I hear you, Tori. You were the butt of a joke. Your husband didn't protect you, right? In the butt of the joke. But I have a problem, Tori. You're sitting in front of the very people who actually said the joke and made you the butt of the joke, right? You can go to Felipe all you want and say, you didn't protect me from being the butt of the joke. But what I didn't like about Tori is she didn't hold her friends accountable, because her friends made her the butt of the joke. If you feel you're the butt of the joke, who made you feel that way first? Before we even get to how he didn't even protect you, who did it? These girls did it. They were the ones that sat there and made fun of your husband and you, according to you. And now you're sitting here and you're not even holding them accountable. At least when Felipe went to the guys apologized and said, you know what? Hindsight, that was wrong of us to say things that could destroy your marriage and also break you guys up. The guys apologized. But did the women apologize? No, because this season is full of a lot of women who don't take accountability. You know, Caitlyn does not take account. In fact, Caitlyn was the one sitting up here talking about effing cook him, castrate him. Something I told you, Caitlyn don't like men. And the only reason why Caitlyn is even attracted to Mecca is because one is he's half man, half woman. And she's attracted to that bad boy, toxic masculinity. That's why she don't like Devon. She don't like Devon because Devon does not have that toxic masculinity that she looks for. She's damaged. Courtney's damaged. She's damaged. That's why I said I wouldn't hang around Caitlyn. I wouldn't get no advice from her. Absolutely not. Not over no men. She's sitting here telling this woman, cook your husband, castrate your husband. Now, Tori, now you got to deal with this. You now know Caitlyn's true feelings about your husband. But yet, right after this, you went right back over there and said you want to make up with him and you want to give it a go because you care about him. See? See how that works? See how that works? You didn't hold them accountable. You're trying to hold your husband accountable. They talk about your husband like a dog. You don't hold him accountable for that. Now you go back and you get with your husband. So what you think Caitlyn's going to be saying now? That's why I'm telling you, a lot of things that Tori does, she makes good points on what she wants Felipe to do for her. But when you turn that around and you say, well, what are you doing to also protect Felipe? You're really not. I'm telling you, I really challenge anyone in my comments when Tori stands around talking about how she makes space, who Felipe really is. I really want someone to explain to me. Maybe I'm missing it. Explain to me where she's actually making space. Tolerating something is not the same thing as making space. Tori is tolerating Felipe's bad behavior, but she's tolerating it and she hates it. Those are two different things. When you make space for a person, you are actually accepting them. You can actually join in on their fun, right? You're not judging them. That's what making space is. When what she's doing with Felipe is she's just allowing him to do whatever, but she's sitting over in the corner mad as hell. That's not making space. Who wants to be with a person where you're out with them, but they're not really a part of you? They're just tolerating you. So I don't believe Tori when she says she makes space for Felipe. I don't. And like I've said about Felipe, Felipe is immature. He's got a lot of growing up to do. He's not really ready to be a husband. He is not. But this idea that Tori is ready and complete and she's so emotionally intelligent and she's doing everything perfectly, she is not. She needs a wake-up call. She absolutely needs a wake-up call. And the fact that she went back to Felipe, I'm like, what, girl? Why are you going back to Felipe? What for? What for? I'm starting to think that some of it does have to do with money. Because at this point in time, I don't even know why Tori's with Felipe. I know in the beginning, she thought Felipe had a lot of money because Felipe said he owned a restaurant. And she talked about the girlfriend credit card that she now is missing. That's why she ain't got no oil in her car. And that car is raggedy because she don't have no girlfriend credit card to pay for stuff. And I suspect that Tori's out here spending all her money on beauty and makeup and clothes because I'm sure she makes good money. I don't know where her money's going. And I think the reason why she was so mad at Felipe when she said he doesn't work for anything, he's really a spoiled child from his mother or his father, is because what she's saying is one of the main reasons I'm with him was for his money, for him to provide for me. And now I'm looking at him and I'm wondering, is he going to be able to provide if his parents are still kind of low key in a way providing for him? But there's a part of me that believes Tori is here for a money angle too. I don't understand why she's still with Felipe. I don't. Someone let me know, why is she still with Felipe? They're obviously not a good match. She's tolerating so many parts of his behavior that she doesn't like. Just like Felipe said, I want a woman that really, truly accepts me. Tori does not accept Felipe. At every turn, she's asking Felipe to be a completely different person. And why is Felipe still with Tori? I don't know why. For her looks, for her beauty, because he just wants a girlfriend. They're both here for the wrong reasons. They're both still in this relationship, not for the person that's really in front of them, but it's for something that they're seeking, some more esoterical thing that they want. And they're just saying that this person is the one that's going to get it. But truly, if you look at these two, they don't like each other. Felipe does not really, really like Tori like that. No. And Caitlyn, F him, castrate him. And then she goes over to Felipe and starts telling him the way you talk to Tori was insensitive and that you need to start learning how to draw boundaries around the guys and you need to learn how to cut people off when they're talking nonsense. Goodness gracious. Look in the mirror. Or if you looked in the mirror, would it scare you? Draw boundaries. You couldn't even draw boundaries around your own mouth, but you're going to teach someone else how to draw boundaries? Such hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Felipe said he can't be with no one that doesn't give him grace. Caitlyn said, you need to have a backbone. Don't nobody want to be Caitlyn. Caitlyn over here trying to teach everybody to be like her, and no one wants to be like you. No one wants to be like you. But Devon's so scared. He's out there talking to Nikki, talking about Caitlyn behind her back. He needs to get a backbone too. Get a backbone. And he's so scared. He's looking over his shoulder, making sure she don't roll up on him and hear what he's saying. He's so scared to say anything about Caitlyn that's negative that he's looking over his shoulder, making sure she don't walk up on him. But then he talks about how when she gets defensive, she attacks and she's toxic AF. Why are you here, Devon? You looking horrible. You looking real, real horrible too. This is going to be a turnoff to a lot of women, Devon. Your future is going to be tainted by this because women don't like to see men who fold up like this and who allow themselves to be constantly disrespected. Because then they think, well, when I'm being disrespected out in the world, who's going to stand up for me? If you can't stand up for yourself, who's going to stand up for me? You know, and but he's talking about we don't have no romantic feelings, none whatsoever. Later on, we see Caitlyn run around talking about, well, I was giving you romantic vibes by slapping you on the back, rubbing your shoulders. And Devon's like, you ain't kissed me since Cancun, and you want me to believe that rubbing me on the shoulders is a friendly, frisky, let's go have sex gesture, please. Even Devon said, you want me to interpret that as you want to F me? And then when he said that, Caitlyn says, don't use those words. I don't like those words, like I want to F you. You just told Tori effing castrate him, cook him. But when someone used the same words with you, you're offended by it. It's harmful to you. Girl, get out of here. Really, Caitlyn's not even fit for, okay, I'm going to go real far here. Caitlyn's not only not fit for marriage, she's not fit to be a girlfriend of a guy, and she's not really fit to be a girlfriend of a girlfriend because, or at least not get no advice from her, because she will infect another woman. You see what I'm saying? She's so toxic that she can't be in a marriage. She can't be in a relationship with a boy. And honestly, she really shouldn't be around other women because she infects other women. Just like she was trying to infect Tori with that toxic talk, that's what she'll do. Everyone needs to stay at least 6 feet away from Caitlyn. There's my warning. Everyone. She starts complaining that every time she tries to get frisky with Devon, he takes a shower, or he goes and cooks some food. And she says, well, maybe something's wrong with him. Yeah, because at this point in time, I don't even think Devon really wants to be with Caitlyn. Talk about somebody who's here just to make it towards the end. It might be Devon. You're talking about who's faking it the most to stay here towards the end. I'm going to say it's Devon. Because later on, all that venom that came out of Devon at the very end, that stuff has been built up for a long, long, long time. Long time. Keep saying, why would someone put up with Caitlyn's mouth this long? Why would someone do it? And if you want to talk about who's someone faking it to make it, I'm going to have to say it's Devon. Because he ain't liked this woman for a long, long time. And even when she even started touching his leg or touching his thigh, he said, ain't no way I'm going to sleep with her. Ain't no way I'm going to sleep with the devil. You shouldn't. I wouldn't let my loins come anywhere near Caitlyn's. Not at all. Sure wouldn't. Not one bit. But everybody said they heard him up all night bickering and arguing, cussing each other out. And then next thing you know, we find out this is where all went down when Cameron told Michelle about all the guys talk, and they were having all this pillow talk. And then what Cameron was trying to tell his wife was loose lips sink ships. But Michelle didn't listen to Cameron because Michelle is running the relationship. And he was trying to tell Michelle, shut the F up. Don't say it. Be quiet. But Michelle ran right past him and did what she wants to do. Michelle's getting on my nerves too. Michelle's that type of a person where once she's made it to where she wants to be, she puts down everybody else. Just because she's married now and found this guy she likes, now she's going to put down other people. It's like a person who you knew them and then they didn't have no money. They was broke. And then when they get a little bit of money, now all of a sudden they too good to talk to you. That's Michelle. I don't like that part of her. Yeah, it's not very becoming. I don't know why. Even if the producers asked her to be this, she's doing it a little bit too much. She's leaning into it a little bit too hard, and she's going around here telling everybody about respecting themselves. And that's when Nikki had to gather her up. Thank you, Nikki. Like I said, all these superpowers people have, they're good at times. And this superpower that Nikki has to tell you who you are, to tell you about yourself, is good when people need it and deserve it. It's just that sometimes Nikki whips it out on people a little bit too soon, too often, and that's in the beginning of the dating, right? That's a turn off. But it's good to have, Nikki. It's good to have, and I was really glad to see you later on this episode use it on Miss Michelle because she needs it. She really, really, but she goes over and she tells Belle Jolie that your man was disrespecting you once again, talking about you part of the itty bitty titty club and he don't want you. And first she tells Caitlyn. She don't even tell Belle Jolie, which I thought was another problem. So you're here to protect Belle, and you know that this is embarrassing for Belle. But instead of telling Belle it first, confidentially, behind closed doors, 101, you tell Caitlyn. You tell Caitlyn. And what's interesting is when she tells Caitlyn, Caitlyn doesn't say castrate Mecca. Caitlyn doesn't say cook Mecca. No, because Caitlyn likes a bad boy. He likes this stuff. Caitlyn likes men like Mecca, toxic men. That's who she likes. Okay, so she don't like Felipe, even though Felipe was supposedly still trying to get with Tori, but she don't think the stuff that Mecca's saying is all that bad enough that later on we see her over there wearing his gold chain, like she gonna be in one of these little videos with a gold chain and a gold tooth. And then later on we see Mecca actually kissing her hand, and we see Belle Jolie sitting right there. I would have slapped the F out of my husband. I don't care if afterwards it would have went off. In that moment, if I ever saw my husband pick up the hand of another woman and kiss it in front of me, I would have slapped him so hard. So hard. And so for Belle Jolie to sit up there as if they're about to be in a menage a trois, and Belle Jolie to take all this stuff, and then Belle Jolie to be on camera after saying, I've taken a lot of things that Belle Jolie off camera wouldn't take. Well, why are you doing it now? Because what? Someone told you this is what marriage looks like? Who told you that? This is not what marriage looks like. Why would you be accepting this type of horrible treatment? Who makes you believe that this is what a healthy marriage looks like? It does not. It does not look like this. Belle Jolie needs to go over and find herself some people who can paint her a better picture of what should be tolerated. So was Michelle correct when she was telling some women that you need to stand the F up for yourself? She was correct when she was telling Belle Jolie that. But I just don't like the tinge of judgment that it comes with, because what she was doing was she was telling you what you should be doing, but at the same time, she was trying to elevate herself. Those are two different things. Those are two different things. You can give a person advice at the same time, not try to make yourself look better, like you all that. And that's what Michelle does. It's a bit of a condescending comment as opposed to a helpful comment. But what she was telling these ladies, especially when it comes to Belle Jolie, it was correct. It was correct. But now we got these people going around giving men advice. Felipe goes back to Tori and says, yep, I need to be more considerate. I need to listen to you more, do what you say. He don't believe none of it. None of it. Because he don't really understand what Tori is saying, but he's tired of saying, I don't understand you and I need you to understand me. Every time Felipe tells Tori, I need you to understand my point of view too, Tori just reiterates her own point of view. That's what happens. And then after a while, Felipe just says, okay, whatever you say. Because Felipe is a go-along guy. He's a go-along guy. And Tori is very consistent and stoic. She's going to keep the same thing. Like I said, she's boring. Tori probably eats the same thing every day, goes to the same places every day, does the same thing every day. Because Tori's conversation is the same every single conversation. Every single conversation, Tori is just talking about her feelings, how she feels. how she feels. She never looks outward at the other people. That's why I said when those girls were sitting in front of her, and they were the ones that actually started and participated in the joke that actually made her feel bad, she still just stayed stuck in her own feelings of how she felt. She never looked outward to figure out, hey, how did I even get here? If she had taken one moment to step outside herself and ask, how did I even start feeling this way? She would have looked at those girls and said, oh, it was you. You was the one that kicked it off. Yeah, my husband didn't stop it. Yeah, my husband didn't reverse it. But if I looked at who was the person who actually started the fire, it was you. And if you really care about me, why would you tell jokes like that over and over and over incessantly that would make my marriage weaker? But Tori doesn't do that. She never steps outside of herself. And that's why I tell you that's going to be a problem with Tori in relationships, because people get tired of listening to you whine and cry about your needs and your feelings, and you never consider theirs. I used to think that Tori was like a giver. I really did, but I'm starting to find out she's not. She describes herself as a person who gives and gives and gives, but then she never receives anything in advance. Really, I'm starting to realize that that's not who Tori is. That's not who she is, actually. She definitely is the victim all the time. It's always her hurt feelings. It's always her that's not being considered. She does feel that way. So I'm not going to say she doesn't feel that way, but I'm still struggling to find out when Tori has poured into anyone else. Even if you look at this series, you look at all the ladies trying, even Caitlyn in her own toxic way was trying to lift up Tori. It was toxic. It was the wrong advice. Even Michelle in what she's doing. I don't like her method sometimes. She was trying. Nikki has tried, right? But tell me a moment when Tori has even tried to lift up any of the other women. All you Tori fans, when has Tori even tried to lift up any of the women? You don't see it. You don't see it. So I'm done with Tori. I've seen enough, and I'm done with her too. And you have Tori continue to talk about her feelings, about how she feels, the narrative about her, blah, blah, this. Felipe said, I got PTSD, right? About women who are ashamed of me and who care more about what other people think. Well, Tori don't care about what other people think as much. She cares. Well, she does. That's why. Remember I told you about the plastic, the lip injections, the Botox. Where was that going to come into play with Tori? Was it going to be vanity? What was it going to be? And what we're seeing is that's what it is. It's self-preservation. That's what it is. It's self, beauty of self, love of self, care of self. Even her emotional is about caring for herself. I'm struggling to find out. I'm really struggling to see where she cares for other people so much. I'm struggling. What else we got going? They talk about they want to be each other's safe space. Ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Michelle and Cameron go on a horseback ride together. Cameron's scared. Don't worry about it. That horse is like Michelle. Get on her back, because Michelle was leading this relationship. And Cameron, it's a metaphor for y'all's life. Cameron was on a horse's back, terrified, but he still went and got on that horse. It's a metaphor for their life. He's afraid of relationships. He suffers from depression. He has lower income than Michelle. Michelle has all the vision. Michelle has all the words. She has everything. So the metaphor is, Cameron, just like you were afraid to get on this horse's back, but you did anyway, get on the back of Michelle, and she will be the leader, just like she was in this horseback riding experiment, and go wherever she wants you to go, and you'll be fine. That's the metaphor. And I believe he's going to do it. So I believe they're going to make it, because Cameron is going to lead. And yeah, maybe he'll be from the back, pessimism, talking shit. But Michelle will be the upfront one, repeating everything that he says. There you go. They make a great couple. But we got to see a cute little moment when Nikki and Shawn, he was happy to see her in New York. She's smiling. It was genuine happiness. I don't care what y'all say. Nikki does like Shawn, but Nikki's embarrassed of Shawn, right? Does she like everything that Shawn does? No. She don't like everything that Shawn does, but she likes having a partner. She likes having a person who's there for her. She likes having a person who is doing things for her, showing care and consideration. She likes all that. She really, really does. But the part she doesn't like is the same part that's about her, which is they both challenge each other and they both can sort of dig at each other and put each other down. We're seeing more of it from Shawn now, but Nikki's whole season is a season of rejection. You understand what I'm saying? So people can say Shawn is saying things to reject Nikki, but even Nikki's demeanor is constant in a lot of ways holding back from Shawn. They're both doing it to each other. But Nikki has really worked to push through her walls. I'm not going to lie. I've seen her work and push through her walls. And that's a good thing. And what she said later on was that even Shawn has pushed through his walls, right? One thing that when we saw that last scene with Nikki explaining to the girls, let me tell you something Shawn said to me that I was a 7 in New York. Here's another thing. Nikki and Shawn are both Leos. Then we find out Nikki and Shawn are both from New York. Remember last week I said that Shawn is from New York. New Yorkers are straightforward. They're blunt. So is Nikki. Nikki's from New York. These are New Yorkers who found their place over in Seattle. That might be another reason why they struggle dating in Seattle. The personality of a New Yorker versus the personality from someone from Seattle are two different personalities. Shawn and Nikki's abrasiveness, their straightforwardness from a New York world would probably be not always so welcomed in Seattle. So for these two New Yorkers to find each other, right? The problem is, can two New Yorkers work it out? Or is it just too much of this? Too much Leo, too much New Yorkers? If they can control these New York egos and these New York, the way they speak, I'm telling you, these two would be a force to be reckoned with. New Yorkers are some of the strongest people in the United States. They're resilient. Can you imagine two powerhouses, New Yorkers, Leos, coming together in this world? Boy, if they could only tame them, it's like they say, tame a lion. If they could only tame themselves. But it was so interesting that when Nikki was telling the story to the ladies about how Shawn was trying to humble her, which he definitely was, calling her a 7 in New York. Now we know why he said that, right? Before it felt like it came out of left field, but now that we know they're both from New York, they were probably having a conversation about dating in New York. So now we know where it came about, a little bit more context. But one of the things that I saw Nikki do is she read her husband correctly. She said that inside of Shawn is a hurt little boy. No pun on him being short. She didn't mean it that way. So I don't want anyone saying Nikki was calling Shawn short. No. What she accurately saw, which is what we all see, is this hurt little boy inside that needs to beat his chest, who needs to pump himself up in order to feel good. And that sometimes is condescending and ostentatious, right? It's when I got to do all this because inside I don't feel as strong. We know this about Shawn. But what she said was, I'm going to use what I know, what I read about Shawn to break his shell. And she said, when I softened, right, when I didn't come up with that masculine energy against another Leo, she said he actually settled down. And she said that he actually was kind and he was nice and she liked it. But here's the part, Nikki, where you went wrong. She said, the problem is I had to soften to get that softer side from him. Okay, we got it. And what she said is, will I always have to cater to him to be kind? Well, yeah. What do you mean, Nikki? Why are you questioning whether or not you'd have to be kind to another person for them to be kind to you? She says, because if that's what I need, then that's not going to work. What do you mean? So you want to be rough and tumble, lead with masculine energy, say whatever the hell you want to say, but in turn, you want him to be kind to you? No, you've hit the key, Nikki. In order for you to get what you want from a person, and let's not just say it's Shawn, you're going to have to be different too. There it is. This is why things don't work, because what people ultimately want, and Nikki is saying it right here, I want the sweet, kind, soft Shawn, but I don't always want to have to cater to him and be sweet and kind. Because Nikki's like, I had to cater to him You weren't catering him any more than what you said he was catering to you over. So you both were catering to each other. So even if you say you were catering to him, got it. But you said in turn he catered to you. So you don't want the back and forth? No, what you want is you want the pursuit, you want all the goodies, but you don't want to have to change yourself. And this is what I've been saying about Nikki. Nikki's 47 years old. Okay. She's been doing the same thing over and over again. She has a long list of the things she wants. But which the part she's not getting is if you want that guy, that alpha guy, the guy who's making $300,000, the guy that's leading, the guy that's doing all that stuff you say you want, but here you are struggling with catering to him, you got a problem, Nikki. You got a problem. So whether it's with Shawn or any other guy, you are going to have to change that part of you. You are going to have to change that part of you. So I'm tired of listening to Belle Jolie talk about who Mecca is, that he's got diarrhea of the mouth, but yet she hugs on him, kisses on him, gives him a third, fourth, fifth chance. Belle Jolie, you're on your own. After a while, when you see people doing the stuff that Belle Jolie's doing, you just say, I can't help you. I can't, not only can I not help you, it's painful for me to watch. So now I gotta go away. Because one is you're not listening. Second of all, I can't watch it. Okay. So at this point in time, I've got to go away. I've got to leave. And that's how I feel with Belle Jolie. At this point, I almost want to turn off all of their scenes because it's painful to watch this woman take all of this abuse from Mecca that he is willing to dish up. And in her face, he kissed a woman's hand in her face. He told women that you're my swap, right? Just like I told you, Felipe don't really want to be with Tori. Mecca don't want to be with Belle Jolie. And he's saying, I'm going to use this slithering, nasty, devilish tongue I have so that when this woman leaves here, she won't be able to say nothing good about another man in her life. I'm going to turn her into me. That's why I said, stay away from people with these nasty spirits because that spirit wants to multiply itself. That spirit that is inside of these nasty tongue people, Caitlyn and Mecca, they want to multiply themselves. And when you come along with a sweet spirit, their goal is to enter you and to turn you. So, Belle Jolie, I've said it before, you need to run. You need to run. You really, really need to run. And when nasty Caitlyn tells Mecca, let's go talk outside, she had no shame in her game, none whatsoever. And she went out there giggling. I'm so glad you chose me to talk to. I'm so happy. I feel so honored. I feel so cool. And Mecca over there is playing her like a fiddle. You see, because she thinks Mecca's really into you. And like I told you before, Mecca is not into Caitlyn. He does not want Caitlyn. Mecca is in to seek and destroy. Okay? So the devil always lures you in. Devil lures you in with something he knows that you want, only to later on destroy you. So be careful. I don't even really want to spend too much time on Caitlyn because it was so disgusting, so disrespectful that actually I don't want to even use my tongue too much to talk too much more about it. So I'm going to keep on going. But let me tell you something. I got to get to this part where Nikki checked Michelle when Michelle gave that speech about knowing your own worth, what you deserve, and that you shouldn't just be doing things to deal with decision day. And the HRVP, Nikki, one of your best moments of this whole episode, she said, that is a wild assumption that some of us are just trying to get here on decision day. Wild. We all got different relationships. We're all working through some of our problems. And then when Michelle didn't let it go and she kept persisting, she told her, you're going to need to stop saying that because it's false. And for you to be walking around saying that we don't respect ourselves or we don't value ourselves, that's wild. It's a wild assumption and it's false. Bravo, Nikki. Bravo. Chef's kiss. Well done. Well done. Your man Shawn would be proud of you. He sure would. He would be there rubbing your back, applauding you. And in fact, if Shawn were here, he would have joined in and y'all would have gang teamed Michelle together. Two of you, two New Yorkers, two Leos would have took Michelle down. And Cameron did not come to the defense of his woman. He sat there hiding, let Michelle fight her own battles. And I really would have wanted Shawn here because I would have wanted to see what went on. I would have wanted to see these two Leos, New York Leos, against Michelle and Cameron, and they would have took them down. If Cameron would have even thought about rearing his head to come in and help Michelle on this girl-on-girl fight, Shawn would have come in and took him down, all the way down. I know it. I absolutely know it. That's why I like these two. I like the possibility of a couple like this out in the world because the world can come up against you. The world can beat you down. And I like the idea of two people back to back, Bonnie and Clyde, me against the world. Both of us not afraid to fire off some shots. You take them out, I take them out, and two of us, we live. I like that. I like the image of that. I just hate that they then turn around and point the guns at each other. That's the part I really hate. But what else happened? I thought it was ironic that they played the game again, a messy game again. I got to bring this up. They played the messy game again. And the game they played this last time was about the hall pass and about all of that. And once again, they bring these sexual jokes back to Felipe and Tori. Now, y'all just had a big fight about being the butt of a joke. Now there's a new game being played. Now we're talking about hall passes. They throw it to you, Tori, about a hall pass. What does Tori do with it? She doesn't even tell the group, no, we're not going down this road again because once again, you're about to make me and my husband a butt of a joke. She doesn't do it. She answers the question. So you let the people do to you. You let them come through and get another chance at doing it. And who's doing it? Who's doing all the poking? Adam and Mecca, the two slivering tongues that are constantly trying to break up marriages and divide people, right? But Tori doesn't even take her own advice. Why didn't you stay up that time, Tori, and say, why are you guys once again trying to disrespect my marriage? And this time, Felipe had the wherewithal to keep his mouth shut. Felipe kept his mouth shut, but who was the one answering the questions this time? Tori. Tori was the one running her mouth. I'm done with Tori. I'm really, really done with Tori. I'm sorry. I know there are a lot of fans out there, Tori. I'm not a fan. I am not a fan. But that's all I got because this video was long and I'm tired of talking about some of these people because they irritate me. But bravo to Devon at the very end for blowing this stuff up and finally saying what he really thought. And I don't have no problem him getting in her face. I don't. I know people will say it's disrespectful. A man shouldn't be showing aggression to a woman like that. But women also need to learn that they need to control their tongue. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. You need to control your mouth. Okay. Because that was unacceptable. I don't care if he was talking over you. Then you get up and you walk away. That's what you do. As a woman who can't protect herself against violence out here, women, when you see, even if you see a person doing something you don't like, disrespecting you, talking over you, you do two things. You either cry so other people can come to your rescue. That's what you do. Or what you do is you get up and you walk away. But what you don't do is you don't sit up in front of a man who's a rugby player who weighs way more than you and tell him to F you in their face. And then look over to Mecca and think Mecca was going to save you. Did you see her look over at Mecca like Mecca was going to be there to protect her against her own husband? No, Mecca's not there to protect you. He ain't even protecting his own wife. And like I told you, he's the one that set all this shit up. He's the one that set it all up. He got you riled up to believe that for you to believe he really wants you. That's what the devil does, seek to destroy and divide. You was already divided. All he did was come and put the nail in your coffin. And then when you hear in hot water and you telling your husband F you, and you looking over at Mecca saying, hey, are you going to jump in and save me? He's like, nah, this is exactly how I wanted it to go down. This is all good. And then afterwards, what did Mecca do? Get up and walk upstairs. Didn't even say nothing to you, Caitlyn. He don't want you. You were a pawn in his scheme. Sorry to tell you. Anyway, bye y'all. I'm done.